He walked in sandals where others rode in limousines. He spoke of mercy in an age of power. And he reached out not to be served but to serve. This is the story of Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the man the world came to know as Pope Francis. Born on December 17, 1936, in Buenos Aires, Argentina, Jorge Mario Bergoglio was the eldest of 5 children in a family of Italian immigrants. Raised in the working-class neighborhood of Flores, Jorge was a quiet and intelligent boy with a deep love for soccer, literature, and spirituality. His family instilled in him the values of simplicity, compassion, and faith. At the age of 21, Jorge's life took a pivotal turn. After battling a life-threatening illness that required the removal of part of his right lung, he began to feel a powerful calling, one not to a career but to a life of sacred service. In 1958, he entered the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, and began his rigorous training in philosophy and theology. Ordained a priest in 1969, he chose to live in simplicity, rejecting grandeur, cooking his own meals, and living in a modest apartment. His mission was clear: to serve, to teach, and to love. His tireless service to the forgotten caught the attention of church leaders. In 1992, he was named Auxiliary Bishop of Buenos Aires, and by 1998, he became its Archbishop. As Cardinal, appointed by Pope John Paul II in 2001, Bergoglio stood out, not for seeking power but for deliberately avoiding it. He rode public transportation, paid his own bills, and visited the poor, the imprisoned, and the undocumented. To the people of Argentina, he was simply Padre Jorge. When Pope Benedict XVI made the historic decision to resign in 2013, the world looked to the Vatican in anticipation. On March 13, 2013, the College of Cardinals elected Jorge Mario Bergoglio as the 266th Pope. He chose the name Francis, after Saint Francis of Assisi, the saint of the poor and the peacemaker. It was a name never before chosen, and it reflected the papacy that was about to unfold. Pope Francis riding a simple Pope mobile, washing feet in prisons, speaking to refugees. Narrator. From day one, Pope Francis broke protocol. He rejected the luxurious papal apartments and chose to live at the Domus Sancti Marthi. He rode in a modest Ford Focus. He washed the feet of prisoners, including women and Muslims. He championed mercy, compassion, and radical inclusiveness. His message was clear: who am I to judge? Pope Francis was not only a spiritual leader, but also a global advocate for justice. In 2015, he released Laudato Si, an urgent plea for humanity to protect the environment, calling Earth our common home. He initiated the Jubilee Year of Mercy, renewed interfaith relations, and became the first pope to visit war-torn Iraq. Whether meeting with Muslims, Jews, atheists, or indigenous peoples, he brought a message of unity, not division. His papacy reminded the world that the church should be a field hospital, open to all, especially the wounded. Inside the Vatican, Francis worked to reform the Roman Curia. He established commissions for financial transparency, restructured the Vatican Bank, and pushed for greater accountability in handling abuse cases. But he faced strong resistance from conservative factions within the church. He bore the weight of criticism with grace, never lashing out, always returning to his core message: love, mercy, and humility. As the years passed, Pope Francis began to show signs of physical strain. He lived with chronic health issues, including sciatica, diabetes, and hypertension. In March 2025, he was hospitalized with double pneumonia, sparking global concern. But even in weakness, he served. His frailty became part of his witness, a testimony to the resilience of faith. On Easter Sunday, April 20, 2025, Pope Francis made a surprise appearance in St. Peter's Square. Frail but smiling, he raised his hand in blessing. It would be his last. On Easter Monday, April 21st, he suffered a devastating stroke and passed away peacefully in the Domus Sancti Marthi at the age of 88. His final words, spoken softly to a nurse, were, "Thank you. A life of gratitude ended in gratitude." His death triggered the Novemdials, a 9-day period of mourning. Over 20,000 mourners paid their respects as his body lay in state at St. Peter's Basilica. On April 26, 2025, a state funeral was held at the Basilica of St. Mary Major, per his wishes. Presidents, prime ministers, royals, and ordinary believers stood shoulder to shoulder. Pope Francis will be remembered as the first Jesuit pope, the first Latin American pope, and one of the most pastoral leaders the Church has ever known. His legacy was not built on doctrine or dogma, but on mercy, humility, and a relentless call to love. As the College of Cardinals prepares to elect a new pope in May 2025, the world carries forward the light of a man who asked us not to build monuments to him, but to open doors to others. He came from the ends of the earth to serve with heart, with hope, and with humility. Pope Francis, a shepherd who walked with his people right to the end.